Thanks for tuning in, Spooniverse. I'm JD. This is the Anthony Caparelli, Director of Beverage Studies at the Institute of Culinary Education, mixologist extraordinaire. If you tuned in before, you've seen us do some wicked crazy infusions, limoncellos, all kinds of stuff. Really, really cool home brewing kits and distillation from wheat to whiskey. Today, though, we're doing molecular mixology. Just look at this table. It's practically a chemistry lab. I don't know what's going on at all, and I feel like you need to instruct me or something dangerous is going to happen. It's too cool.
Okay, cool.
Explain this.
So, so a bunch of chemicals on the table. We always have some chemicals on the table. It's usually like ethyl alcohol. But
My
today,
favorite.
Yeah, we have some other stuff. We have some salts, particularly calcium lactate and calcium chloride, and we have sodium alginate. And those are ingredients that we use in order to spherify liquids. So, first of all, we're going to get a little complicated. We always get complicated. So, any questions, please shoot them down in the comments, and we will answer them as we go. But first of all, let's talk about what molecular mixology even is. It's a made-up word. It really is.
As all the best words are.
Right. It's so much of it is just, but it was a way to indicate a way of serving alcohol that was other than just taking liquids and putting it in a glass. And it actually started in the kitchen. Some chefs, some very intelligent chefs, started playing with different ways to present food, and they would do things like deconstructing food. So,
that I've heard.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you know about deconstructing food? What was your experience with that?
I know that it's when they take something apart and like reconstruct it in something else. So like a deconstructed bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich means it's like open and maybe the eggs aren't even in scrambled form and all these things like that.
Exactly right. Perfectly put. So you take the ingredients, you separate them, you maybe put them in a different form than you would be used to seeing them, and then you assemble them together on a plate in a new way. The reason the molecular part, that's sort of deconstruction. The molecular part came in when we started using chemicals to alter the physical appearance of things, and in particular we take liquids and turn them into solids or gels.
Kind of like in that episode of Parks and Rec where Aziza Ansari takes everyone to a fancy bar and they're inhaling drinks as fumes.
Yep.
Ron Swanson is very angry about that.
I am glad you brought that up. I actually, my web video series, Art of the Drink, I actually did an homage to that episode. Do you remember the last drink that they serve in that episode?
A shot of
vodka.
Kamikaze.
No, it was a shot of vodka served
just
as a flash of light.
Oh yeah.
Remember? And I thought that was so cool because vodka is just like the purest. So I actually did that on my web video series. I actually came up with a laser system that actually vaporizes vodka and an inhaler, and I actually served vodka as a flash of light.
Are you a mad scientist,
I am a mad scientist. But that's a perfect example, yes. And they were making fun of that whole thing and taking vodka and serving it as a flash of light, which obviously you can't do, but as it turns out you can. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to do three sort of basic examples of molecular mixology. We're first going to start with foam, which is probably the easiest and the most common. We'll talk a little bit about why this is different from just making whipped cream. And then we're going to go to two forms of spherification, basic spherification and reverse spherification. And they both have pros and cons, and we'll talk a little bit about the chemistry involved. But the very first thing I want to do is move over here to foam. So we all had whipped cream that's flavored with spirits, right? You've had Grand Marnier whipped cream and things like that. Okay, so we're actually going to make Kahlua foam. And it is going to have cream in it, but it's not going to be Kahlua whipped cream.
Okay.
So let me tell you what the difference is. If I were to make whipped cream using Kahlua, I would put maybe a couple of tablespoons of Kahlua in a pint or so of heavy cream just to flavor it.
Right.
You're not actually serving the Kahlua.
Just the essence of.
The essence, right. We are actually going to take the Kahlua itself and turn it into a foam.
What?
Including its alcohol and all that kind of good stuff. So it's going to look similar, but it's very different.
It's going to taste totally intense.
Totally different. So we're going to use gelatin. That's the first ingredient.
Okay.
You don't normally use gelatin when you're making drinks.
I certainly never have.
Right. So the very first thing we have to do, and you can see I'm going to start moving some stuff out of the way here. I have a hot plate set up, and I want you to take 1 cup of this Kahlua and pour it into our pot here, and we're going to do what's called blooming the gelatin. Gelatin normally comes in sheets or crystals like this, and they're solid. They need to dissolve in the liquid. And the way you do that is you introduce the gelatin, stir it around, and let it dissolve. That's called blooming the gelatin. And then we want to heat it up to make sure it's thoroughly dissolved. So go ahead and put that in there.
And gelatin is made out of what exactly? Because it's kind of an animal product of sorts.
It's not just kind of an animal product. It is an animal product. Yes, it's funny. I just watched a documentary last night where they recreated one of Fannie Farmer's recipes from the 1896 or something like that. And they made gelatin from scratch. Have you seen that one? Awesome, America's Test Kitchen. It's actually made from boiled pig's feet. And you actually you're removing the collagen, which is the connective tissue, and melting it down, and then that's what makes the gelatin. We love collagen, even for plastic surgery. All kinds of stuff. I know that you can also make it out of seaweed, but I don't know if those work so well. So I love that you say that. I want you to bring that up when we get over to this side of the table. Okay, because a lot of what we're doing today is similar. So this is one packet of gelatin, and I'm just going to put that in, and I want you to just stir it up a little bit to dissolve that. And that's, when it's nice and dissolved, the gelatin will be bloomed. And then we want to heat that up. How much are we heating this up? You just want to simmer it. You want to get bubbles forming on the bottom and then turn it off. If you boil it, all the alcohol is going to go away. Oh, we don't want that. Not good, right? No, exactly. No. So we're just going to let that simmer, and then what you want to do after that is put it in the fridge to cool it back down to about 40 degrees, which I have done already for you. And then we're going to add our heavy cream. Awesome. So go ahead and put that in there. Okay. And we're using anywhere from I like about equal parts. Not all of this then. Go ahead and put all of it in there. Equal parts to twice as much cream, which is kind of what we're doing here. All right, so that's about good. And now I want you to whisk that up. All right. I'm going to put that out here so folks can see what you're doing. Go ahead and whisk it up so it's nice and incorporated. Ooh, that feels crazy. Yeah. It's like mixing Jell-O or something. The gelatin has already started to thicken. Whoa, that looks insane. Right. This is crazy. It kind of looks like there's a monster from the deep, like Loch Ness Monster. Good. Whoa. It smells great, though. I'll tell you that much. So, are you getting that in there? I think I'm getting it. Yeah. What's your opinion on Kahlua and coffee? Together? Yes. Kahlua is coffee-flavored rum. I'm not a big fan of putting two things that are the same flavors in the glass. That's sort of I call it kind of a beginner move. If you already have a coffee and you add something that tastes like coffee to it, you're not really doing very much. So what I prefer to do is add things that aren't coffee flavored to coffee. So I like Grand Marnier, Chambord, anything that has a good nutty flavor to it. Whiskey, that's where Irish coffee comes from. All of those things, to me, do a little bit better job of complementing the coffee. But again, start wherever you're comfortable. All right, how's that working? I think it's coming along a little bit. Yeah, Johnny, is your massive well? Tastes good. Great. It smells awesome. Yeah. Speaking of Irish coffees, like a little whipped cream and coffee liqueur with like a little whiskey. Yep. And a cup of Joe. Okay. So we're going to let that sit for a minute, and then we're going to move on to our spherification. Now, you mentioned gelatin possibly being formed from seaweed. Yes. So vegetarian gelatin. Exactly. So what they actually use is what's called alginate. And you can see the algae part of it right there. Totally. Yeah. So we happen to have a whole bunch of sodium alginate right here. Awesome. And this is alginate in a powdered form, and this is half of the reaction that we use for spherification. Okay. So the cool thing about alginate, it is from seaweed, and it will form a gelatin-like substance. But in order to do that, you have to dissolve it in water, and then you have to mix it with a salt. Okay. And then chemistry happens. Magic. Yeah, the salt ions interact with the alginate, and they turn it from a liquid into a more solid form, and it forms that sort of gel. So that's sort of what we're doing when we're doing spherification. Now you can either take the alginate and put it directly into the spirit, which is what we have here, and then immerse that in a bath of the salt. That's called basic spherification. Or you can reverse it. You can put the salt in the spirit and then immerse it in a bath of the alginate. That's called
let's do both.
Reverse spherification. Right, we're going to do both.
So what kind of liquor are we working with?
So basic spherification is a little bit easier, so we're going to start with that first. Cool. And so what I've done is I've taken cinnamon schnapps, because it's pretty.
Okay, yeah.
And you want to do about 1 gram of alginate to about 200 grams of liquid. And we measure with mass, because this stuff is very precise. So go get a kitchen scale. I've already whipped up a batch of this, but I want to go ahead and have you do it as well, so folks can see what's involved. So go ahead and put about a cup of our... Just rinse this for you real quick. I want you to do about a cup of the cinnamon schnapps.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? You have, so the cool thing about liquids, especially when they're mostly water, is the milliliter amount is about equal to the weight. Water, it's exactly equal. Yeah, alcohol's a little different, but it's close, good enough for government work. So on this side, we have milliliters. So why don't you go ahead and just do 200 milliliters, and then we know we're going to put 1 gram of sodium alginate in that.
The cinnamon schnapps.
Fabulous. Right,
it looks like cough syrup, but it tastes so much better.
Put that in there.
This little pint glass.
And I already have the sodium alginate measured out for you, so go ahead and put that in there.
Woo.
Good. And now we have our wonderful immersion blender. And this makes short work of dissolving that alginate. So go ahead and put that in there. Yep. And take it all the way down to the bottom. Go as far down as it'll go. That's great. And that will dissolve the alginate. Now you can do this by hand, but it takes a long time.
But this is much more
fun and much cooler. And what you're looking for, keep going, it takes a little while. Yeah, what you're looking for is for the liquid to thicken up. That means that the alginate is dissolved into the liquid. Yeah,
they're best friends. They're having a party.
Exactly. All right, so that's probably good enough for now because we don't want to waste all. But you can already see that it's already started to get a little thicker.
Oh yeah.
And when you're done,
it looks kind of more like Pepto-Bismol now.
This is what you get. All right, now what do we do with this? We have a bath of calcium chloride. And we're doing about the same. We're doing like 1 gram of calcium chloride to 200 grams of water. And this dissolves nice and easily because it is a salt. And now we're going to take our syringe. Exactly. And we're going to try and suck up some of this cinnamon schnapps that has the alginate dissolved in it. You don't need too much. And we're going to drop this into the calcium chloride bath, and we're going to cross our fingers that science wants to play nice today. So I'm going to show you what I want you to do, and you're going to do the first ones. You're just going to see how nice long drops like that. And you don't want to squeeze it too hard or you'll get spaghetti. Okay. And the longer you let it fall, the more time it's going to have to form that sphere. Exactly.
I see.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and do that right over the bath nice and high. And see what we get. Beautiful.
Whoop, that one got, I got a little excited.
Good, look at that. So I'm going to help you. So I've already made too big a mess to help you. Why don't you just keep going? And you can see that as it hits the liquid, it turns into a little piece of caviar and floats down to the bottom as a solid.
Oh my God, it's
good, right?
cinnamon schnapps caviar.
So it's cinnamon schnapps caviar, exactly.
That is too cool.
Great question. You want to try it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first thing you have to do is, do a little bit more.
It's too fun.
You have to strain the caviar out of the bath.
Okay.
All right, so I have a strainer. I'm going to duck off to the side real quick and strain this out. And I want you to pick up one of those shot glasses.
Okay. Spoon shot glass.
Great. Now, if you're not going to, you can rinse this in cold water as well, but I want you guys to see what's actually, see those little pearls?
Oh, whoa. This is like, if you have bubble teas, these are like the little boba balls in it, or like tapioca pudding even.
So you can either just drink that just like that, or you can put other spirits in it. and then drink the whole thing kind of like bubble tea. So why don't we do that second one? Why don't I give you a little bit of Chambord?
It smells like cinnamon schnapps, but it looks like boba.
And you can see.
Wow, that is too cool.
All right.
Get out of town. Oh, man.
So why don't you give that a try? And you have alcoholic bubble tea.
What? First of all, that is delicious. It looks like it's like they pop in your mouth a little bit.
Right.
Like with the liquid and flavor, it's kind of like a gel casing and it just like explodes. You don't like chew them like you do boba.
Right. And this should be liquid inside still, right? And it just pops.
Yeah, it pops in like a burst of flavor.
Right. So one of the things that I do, I actually produce a series of musical comedies here in New York about cocktails and spirits, and called The Imbible, and we do a Christmas version where I do a candy cane molecular martini, and I do cinnamon schnapps, peppermint schnapps, and liquor 43, which is vanilla. So cinnamon, mint, and vanilla, and we do spheres of each of them, and it's red, green, and yellow, and you put them in a martini glass, and they all mix together, and then you actually drink the spheres, and it tastes like a candy cane martini, but it's those little bubbles.
That is
I know.
So cool.
Right, exactly.
It's so good.
All right, so next thing I want you to do is we're going to try reverse spherification.
Let's do it.
I can tell you right now, this is probably not going to work because reverse spherification is a pain in the neck. So the easiest way...
That's fun, we'll try anyway.
The easiest way to do reverse spherification is... So first of all, it's exactly the same thing. We have our liquid, but we're putting the salt in the liquid now.
Okay.
As opposed to the alginate in the liquid. And then our alginate is our bath. So I did the same proportions, 1 gram to 200 grams of liquid, mixed it all up, and I have my alginate bath, and I have my salted liquid. Now here's the problem with reverse spherification. Salt has flavor, especially calcium chloride. So in this case, we didn't use calcium chloride, we used calcium lactate, which has almost no flavor. Because the salt is now in what you're actually drinking. Right?
So unless you want a pickleback flavor,
exactly.
cut that salt out.
So we changed the salt up. Now, this also is a little bit trickier to get to work. So the easiest thing to do is to get an ice cube tray. And fill the ice cube tray up with your liquid, freeze it, and then drop the ice cubes into the alginate bath. Right, which we have some in the freezer, but I don't think they're ready yet. But we can try it and see if the spherification gods are going to work with us today. So what you do with this now is you take a spoonful, and so we made caviar before. This is actually called oysters because it's bigger. So you take a spoonful of your liquid, and then you're going to immerse it very gently into the alginate bath. And you want to kind of swirl it around and try and get it. Now here's why the tricky part, why this is difficult to get to work. The top is going to work perfectly. Getting under the spoon, trickier. So unless you're really kind of good at it, you're probably going to end up having it leak out of the bottom. But we will see what this is supposed to look like if you just go ahead and put it in there and immerse it around. Yeah, that's exactly right. Good. And I'll kind of tip this for you, and I want you to just put it right in there. Cool. And just kind of tip it back and forth a little bit, and see if you can get it to just fall gently out of the spoon. Just tip it all the way to one side. There you go. Good. Good. Look at that.
Ta-da!
Good. So we have an oyster.
That's a total little oyster. It kind of looks like an egg yolk.
In there, exactly. Now the tricky part is see if we can get it out.
Wow.
Without destroying all of your hard work.
I did my part, Anthony. This is on you.
Yep. Let's see how we're doing. Now this is more, you can't really strain this out. You have to...
Patience is a virtue.
Lift it out. Exactly.
Just give it a little tender love and care,
So let's see how we did here.
It's looking groovy,
It's looking groovy. All right, can you get me a shot glass?
Oh, yeah. Here we go, moment of truth.
Oh, let's see if we can do it without breaking it.
I hope you guys are giving us a drum roll at home. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It's like a ruby.
There you go.
All right.
Now this again, we're going to want to rinse, right? So
Yeah.
this would go in cold water. You would rinse that out, and you would have your oyster.
It almost looks like a cherry, like a real maraschino cherry
Exactly.
or something. Wow. Which
Okay.
is kind of the cool thing about molecular mixology and gastronomy is that you think you're eating something else or drinking
And it's
something
not.
else, and then
Right.
surprise.
So the way I like to serve these now is in like a miso spoon, like you would see in a Japanese restaurant, right? And so now, okay, here you go. Here's a nice little example of how that ends up working. Okay, now let's get back to our phones. And let's see how this works. So
How's
now,
our Kahlua hanging?
so it looks like some of the gelatin has dissolved into the heavy cream, and we're going to put this into what's called an ISI container, and that is going to introduce carbon dioxide and actually make it into a foam. Bless you.
Thank you.
So again, I'm going to duck off and pour some of this in.
Oh yeah, it smells awesome in here right now. So it's like a whipped cream, a home whipped cream canister almost, basically, right?
Right, exactly. Now, again, the difference is when you're serving this, you're actually serving the Kahlua. Now, this EC container has a top that goes on. You can buy these online fairly inexpensively. And we have a CO2 cylinder that fits into this charger. And go ahead and screw that all the way on. You'll hear it charge the cylinder.
Kind of sounds the same as if you've ever gone camping with one of those
Yeah.
little gas stoves and you put the propane tank on it.
Good. Now, shake it. Really, really good. I want you to introduce that CO2.
Kind of like how you taught me how to shake cocktails in a shaker.
Yeah. So you're really getting that CO2 incorporated really well. And I'm going to do a little bit of amaretto in here.
Love amaretto.
And then you are going to foam it on the top. So it's going to be amaretto and Kahlua, which is coffee and an almond-ish. It's not really almonds. It's
Sounds like an ideal dessert.
apricot pits. Yeah. So I want you to go straight. I want you to have this part going straight down.
Okay.
And then very gently you're going to squeeze this. And you'll see that you'll end up with a foam
Whoa!
right on top.
That is pretty
Cool?
cool.
So why don't we show everyone, go ahead and fill that all the way up.
Okay.
All right? So that
I'm sure there's a prettier way to present
used to be
it.
that. Right.
That's nuts. That
It
is
beautiful,
Kahlua, though.
right?
Yeah.
So why don't you give that a try
Oh, with a pleasure.
and see what you think of that.
Oh my god.
It's actually Kahlua, right?
Yeah, there's
Foamed
so
Kahlua.
much more flavor in that. Man, I feel like you just ruined whipped cream for me. I'm just gonna be like, why isn't this a real foam?
Exactly.
There's so much more character in this foam than I've ever had in like a whipped cream.
So a cool thing that you can do with this now is because it's in a solid-ish form, you can serve this on a plate. Again, you can do it in miso spoons. You can do it on your finger.
You can eat your drink.
Clearly. So now you can incorporate alcoholic beverages into actual foods, right? Like into a dessert or an appetizer or something like that. And this will work with, anything. And I like the flavored stuff the best. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So that's sort of a really, really quick intro to molecular mixology.
My mind is melted.
Cool.
As per usual, you are a master. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.